Welcome back to Stories for Shabbos. Rav Meir Chadash was a great tzaddik. He was the mashkiach in a yeshiva called the Hebron Yeshiva. And it was known that besides just being a great Talmid Chacham and who gave great shiurim, he was also a big tzaddik with great midos, very caring, helped everyone, was a very, very nice man. And here's the perfect story that shows you just how nice he was. Rav Meir Chadash, when he was a little older, ended up in the hospital. Not for so long, but he was there for a little while. I don't know exactly what the problem was. And his family, because he had a beautiful family, would come and visit him and would stay with him. They didn't want him to be alone, so they kept him company. And he liked having him around. And when the doctors would come to give an update, his wife and his kids and whoever was there would listen in, so everybody knew how he was doing and what the doctor thought. So one time, he had a lot of family there with him, and a young doctor or nurse, I don't know exactly what it was, came in and said that he needed to draw some blood. He needed to do a blood test. And Rav Meir Chadash turned to his family and said, I'm asking if you can all please go outside and wait so I can have this done privately. And they were all wondering, like, that's strange. We've all been keeping him company. He's never asked us to leave the room before. This is just a little blood test. He's had much bigger things over the past few days or few weeks. Why does everybody have to leave just because he's having a little blood test? And they said, what, are you sure? Abba, Tati, honey, are you okay? Why do you can stay, it's okay. And he said, I'm asking you all please to leave. I want this to be done privately. So they weren't going to argue, and so they listened, and they went out, and they waited for a little while, and then they came back after, and they said, what happened? What did he do? And he said he did a blood test. So they said, so why did we all need to leave so they could have privacy for your blood test? And Rav Chadash said, I could tell that he was a young doctor, and he might have been pretty new, or nurse, whatever he was. And sometimes you can get nervous when you're doing a blood test, because sometimes you can't get the right amount of blood out. Sometimes you need to do a second prick or a third prick. Who was I at the doctor with recently, and they needed to do like 4 different pricks until they finally got the blood nachi. So sometimes it can be a little hard. And he said, I have veins. Sometimes it's a little hard to get the blood from my vein. And I didn't want this new young nurse to feel pressure of having 10 people staring at him and watching him. And if he makes a mistake and has to do it again, he'd be embarrassed and he'd start sweating and get all nervous. So I asked you all to leave, so it was just me and him. And you know what? He needed to prick a second time, and that's okay. I don't mind. But I didn't want him to feel the pressure of everybody watching him. That's what a tzaddik is. Somebody who, even when he's in the hospital, even when he himself was struggling, and usually the way it is when somebody's in the hospital, everybody else cares about them and takes care of them and tends to them and makes sure they feel okay. He, even when he was struggling and having a difficult time, was taking care of other people. He wanted to make sure that the feelings of the doctor and the nurse weren't hurt, that they didn't get embarrassed, that they didn't feel too much pressure, that they knew they were relaxed, that they knew that even if they made a little mistake or was a little difficult, that was okay. And that's what he was thinking about when he was recovering in the hospital. Good Shabbos, everyone.
Good Shabbos. Good Shabbos.
You can go say good Shabbos.
Okay.
Quick, go.
Okay.
Say good Shabbos.